I said earlier that a Java server page is first translated into the source code of a servlet, and then it's compiled and run. And that's true. It does work that way, but the Java code it produces is not exactly the same as you would write if you were writing a servlet. Now, there's a script named JSP that you can use to do this translation. Now, this script is designed for internal use by the container in the server, so it has some odd defaults, and the command line is a bit strange, but it does work. I put the command in a script. There are lots of options that you can use, mostly to specify the input files and to direct the location of the output. The D option, for example, specifies the destination directory of the output, and the dot names the current directory. The URI root option specifies the location of the source files, and again the dot specifies the current directory. Finally is a list of one or more JSP source code files. As you can see, this is the source file of the JSP developed in the previous lesson. That just did the translation. The output is on a path in the current directory, so it's in a subdirectory. The output file has the same name as the source input file, except it has the letters JSP added to it, and now it has the Java suffix. As I said, this is a little different than a normal servlet. For one thing, it's an extension of the HTTP JSP base class, and it has the JSP service method, the one that's being called to produce the page. But notice the arguments to this method: the request object and the response object. These are the same as the doGet method of a regular servlet. And the processing in this method is also about the same. The stuff at the top is fairly standard. It's just to set up values for the rest of the code, and something you might have if you have a more complex servlet. Here you see the code inside is inside a try block. And right here, here's where the action begins. The page is output with a write statement just like any other servlet. This is the HTML that was included in the page before the first Java statement. It's all output as one cluster this way because it's intended for the Java compiler, not for people to read it like you and I are doing right now. And here's the Java code that was specified in the original JSP page. You can see that it has been copied unchanged to its place in the generated code. The Java tag ends, and then there's more HTML code. Here it's just quoted in output. And then comes the other Java tag, the rest of the Java code, the closing of the for loop. This causes the output of the HTML code to be enclosed inside the for loop. Thus, the HTML and Java code are intermixed. Now, this surprised me at first. The catch block will catch anything that's throwable, any exception, any error, or anything else. A method is called to handle the page exception no matter what it is. This means that in a JSP, you can write code that throws any exception whatsoever, and you don't have to worry about catching it. It will be included here and caught and handled no matter what it is. Of course, you can still catch things and handle them if you wish, but a standard error procedure is called by default. Remember, in a servlet, the methods you write throw the exceptions, and they're handled by code that's sort of like this. It makes it possible to have a standard error procedure and, in particular, deliver standard error pages to the web browser. I'll be showing you how to do that in future lessons. Now, you shouldn't ever have any real need to translate a JSP into Java code, but I've done it a few times just to look at what happens. It cleared up some questions for me, so if you need to know how things really work, this is one of the ways to find out.